There was a small village nestled between the hills, where the seasons changed like the pages of a forgotten book. Among the villagers lived a young woman named Elara, known for her quiet grace and kind heart. She had spent her entire life in the village, and her days were filled with the rhythm of the earth, the planting, the harvest, the quiet hours in the fields. But more than anything, Elara longed for love, though it was something she never thought she could have. There was a man in the village, Aiden, whom Elara had admired from afar. He was a traveler, a poet who wandered through the world with no particular destination, leaving behind tales of distant lands and stars. He would come to the village every few years, sharing his stories with anyone who would listen, but his heart was always elsewhere. He never stayed long enough for anyone to really know him, and Elara, too shy to speak of her feelings, kept her love hidden. One summer, Aiden returned to the village again, this time for a longer stay. His presence stirred something in Elara, a feeling she could no longer suppress. She found herself watching him from the window of her little cottage, her heart racing when their paths would cross. He smiled at her once, just a fleeting moment, and she felt her chest tighten with something she couldn't name. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Elara gathered the courage to approach him. She had something to say, something that had been buried inside her for years. But when she reached the edge of the village square, she saw him speaking to someone else, a woman with a laugh that rang through the air like a bell. Aiden's eyes sparkled as he listened to her, his smile soft and tender. Elara stood frozen, her heart shattering as the weight of her unspoken words fell heavy on her. The next morning, Elara heard the news that Aiden was leaving again, and with him, the woman. He had no intention of staying. She watched as he packed his things and said his goodbyes, her eyes never meeting his. He left the village just as he always had, without a trace, like a dream that fades when you wake. For years, Elara continued to live in the village, tending to the fields, her love for Aiden still an ache in her chest. But time did what it always does. It faded the sharpness of the pain into a dull, quiet sorrow. Yet, no matter how many seasons passed, the memory of that fleeting moment remained with her, a reminder of a love that never was.